All right, here we are. Another live stream, another Gearbox. How is everybody doing? I am Jem Schofield of the C47, and welcome to my channel. First thing I want to do is just make sure that, number one, that you can see me. Number two, that you can hear me. We always do a check here at the beginning of the live stream. Lots of new stuff happening here today, so even more important that I check that with you. And what's up, Victor? Got your list ready for Camera and Flash tonight. Oliver, I'm glad you're here. Quick little piece of housekeeping. Every single Wednesday, except for maybe next Wednesday, and sometimes holidays, we have Camera and Flash at 3 p.m. Pacific time with myself, Ben Barden, and Caleb Pike. And we talk about gear, we have chats, we have challenges, and today it's a $2,500 lens kit challenge. It's going to be our 3 lists along with 5, count it 5, different lists from other viewers, including Victor Bart. Andres, nice to have you here. And if you are here at my live stream, then that means you are a hardcore follower, because there's another live stream going on at ZEISS with Philip Bloom about what is apparently a question mark, the best camera or greatest camera yet, or something like that. So, Victor, we have 5 other entries that we're including in today's episode. So when I say other, I mean yours included. So it's myself, Ben Barden, Caleb Pike, you, and 4 other people. So it's a 5 list total, which I think for a 1-hour live stream is perfect. And that's what we all think too. Clay is also on there. So nice to see you here on the live stream. And guess what, boys and girls? Let's see if this all works. I don't know if it will. Let's see. Tell me if you see the changes. And I'm always getting a little bit of delay when I am monitoring everything here. But for the first time, I actually have the ATEM Mini set up. So you should be seeing an overhead shot, though I don't know if it's actually pushing it. We'll see. That's really nice. Nice, Victor. All right, I see how you play over there. So there is quite a delay here when I'm doing stuff for these live streams, but from what I can tell, you're seeing this overhead shot. So that's C cam. And then over here, we should be seeing our B camera shot, which is going to allow me to show you this stuff. And let's see if this all works, because this is a little bit of an experiment. This is really, sorry, I just un-OCD'd my OCD, even though it wasn't completely OCD. Yeah, good. So the ATEM Mini is working. I'm excited about that. I've had it in a box since before the holidays, but this is really the first time I've been able to deal with that. And I'm setting up stuff for this new series I'm going to be doing, and we're kind of getting set up to do a whole bunch of other educational videos. And eventually, when this big space gets built out, what will wind up happening is this will take this whole 3-camera idea, maybe make it 4 cameras, and allow me to do a lot more stuff educationally in this space. So not just tabletop stuff, but bigger setups with small sets and things like that. Excited about that? You like this channel? If you do social media, help me out a little bit. Let's promote this channel and get more people to subscribe, because the end goal here is that I do this a lot more, that I'm creating a lot more regular content for everybody. You know, I'm the guy who gets down to the nuts and bolts of this stuff. So I want to create more of that stuff for you, tech and craft based. Okay, so chat is up. If you have specific questions for me personally related to what I'm talking about, or this, what are you talking about, Harrison? Maybe I built a brick wall last week. So if you have a question for me, and you want to ask it while we're going through stuff, do an @the C47 all together, no spaces. It'll light up for me and let me know that somebody does that. Okay, hey Jem, curious talking about these lights, if there's one with adequate brightness for heavy modification, like pushing through a 6x6 diffusion or booklight type setup. Neil, good to have you here. The answer to that for the category of lights that I'm talking about today is probably no, unless you are in an absolutely controlled environment. I would say that your best bets here related to that are, that's funny, Neil, probably the cello, which we'll talk about in a second, the F7, and probably the Boling P1 light. Though I will tell you that this MW here is bright as all heck, but I wouldn't say that these lights are designed for that purpose. But if you're in a small space, let's say an 8x8, 8x10 space, with higher ISOs on these cameras, you could get away with it, but I wouldn't rely upon it as a solution in most situations. I've done episodes of Gearbox and other stuff on this channel where I'm in hotel rooms, and I have been using this type of lighting for what I'm doing. What's up, David? Good to see you here on the live stream. Again, if you're here, it means I hope you like the content and you're going to promote the channel and subscribe if you haven't. I'm pretty sure most people here have subscribed. If you have not subscribed and you're coming here regularly, come on, let's build this thing. It's time to get going. All right, so first, before I jump into all of this lighting stuff, what I want to talk to you about is that everything that I'm going to go through here, if I remember to do it the right way, all of this stuff is going to be gone through in a specific order that relates to the list below the fold in the description in terms of where you can find these products. The vast majority of them I am linking to B&H. There are some here that I'm linking to Amazon. They are affiliate links. They don't cost you any more money. They help support the channel and allow me, hopefully, by the middle of this year, for me to do this so much more and on a very regular basis. Let's get this channel up to Caleb Pike numbers in 2020, or at least in that direction. Okay, so let's first start by going over the first light that I'm going to talk to you about. So let me just go ahead and grab that right here. And again, we're testing this A10 Mini. So let me see if I can monitor here, at least somewhat. It will give me some sense of what I'm looking at here. So this is version 2 of a light from Luxli. Luxli is a brand that's under the Gratis Group, which means they're essentially a B&H brand. And this particular light here is the Viola 2. So what's the difference? Well, the Viola 2 on each one of these basically chipsets or whatever you want to call them, it has 4 diodes. So what you have in here is you have RGB, no, you have 5, sorry, on the version 2. You have 5, you have RGB, and then you have an amber and you have a white. So 2 whites basically for warmer light, for more daylight light. It goes all the way down to 1%, which I love, and it goes between 3,000 and all the way up to 10,000 Kelvin. There's also specialty stuff in here. You have hue, saturation, intensity, and you have some special effects inside of here and some gels and all kinds of things like that. It's becoming pretty typical. It also has a very, very good app that lets you control both this and also its big brother, which is the cello. Now, the cello is still on version 1. It's controlled by the same app. I think it's one of the better apps out there. Probably the only 2 apps that I think are better on the market are the Stellar app from ARRI and the Sidus Link, or Sidus Link, depending on how you say it, from Aputure. So this little sucker is a 10-inch version. It gets really, really bright. I will say that you know, this is kind of a workhorse. The biggest difference here with this particular light is that it doesn't have on each one of those chipsets the 5 different LEDs. So it's a little less versatile, but quite honestly, I would say that about, I'm going to say 98% of the time, I'm really just looking for correlated color temperature, or CCT, which means I'm going between warmer light and more cooler daylight color temperatures. One of the things that I like about both of these lights is that they go all the way up to 10,000 Kelvin. I like lights that go at least up to 6,500 Kelvin because that's the white point for screens. And a lot of times when you're lighting sets, like right now, you're not really seeing any screens in frame. But if I had a screen here and I was showing you menus or something, generally D65 or 6,500 Kelvin is the white point for a monitor. So this studio and my lighting and my cameras are all basically balanced to 6,500 Kelvin. And it's important, it's really important to make sure that your lighting can get to that, because a lot of traditional lights only went to 5,600 Kelvin or were daylight fixtures and were tuned to that. Now, you can compensate for that on fixtures by using gels. And you can basically use CTB or color temperature blue to cool those off and get them closer to 6,500 Kelvin. But if you have a light that can do that, then you're in better shape. Okay, so that's the Luxli Viola 2 and the cello. I am loving those lights. Let's take a look at these little suckers right here, these little slap bracelets. This is basically from Spiffy Gear. These are the Lumis, L-U-M-I-E-E. And basically, let's take a look at these. They are, in fact, slap bracelets. Man, I got to get used to monitoring with this. So there they are. And I might as well put that shiznuts. What's going on? Let's turn them both on, and we'll take a look. And hopefully they're there. So we've got the RGB one right here, and we've got the basically bicolor version right here. And you can see that you turn them on and off. And let me just show you, you can then use that on-off button to change in basically intensity. And then for the RGB, the middle button, which is right here, allows you to change the overall color temperature. And then there's variations with the third button. And then the same over here, you can change color temperature with the bicolor. These things are awesome. And they're about $45. So when we talk about price points here, and we go over here, shiznuts, I don't want to know about that. So if we take a look at these two right here, I think this is about $239 for the Viola 2. You're looking at $3 and change for the cello, which is very good value, but these are 45 bucks each. They also have magnets on them. You can use command strips to put them onto things. And I think one of the things that I want to really talk about here when we're talking about these lights is you're using them for accents, you're using them for kickers, you're using them to put background light into places. And one of the other things that you're trying to do, and I'd like to do a follow-up hopefully in next week's episode as a recorded episode, is you're trying to create depth. One of the things that you'll notice about a lot of narrative work and great documentary work is that not only is mood created in terms of how you light your subject matter, whether that's a person or an object or people and objects or objects, but it's also creating depth in the environment. I mean, production design is really all about finding locations and creating locations that have continuity and consistency with the look and feel of a particular story. But part of that is also taking advantage of the depth and also the interesting lighting components that are there. But we can do some of that with fixtures like this. You can stick a Spiffy Gear Lumi or some of these other smaller lights right here up in the distance, and you can place them with magnets or command strips or whatever you're going to use. And you can actually create in those out of focus areas the stuff that really sells, not only how you're lighting your subject or subject matter, but also creating depth. So hopefully we'll do that. What does that say? Shiznuts, you missed the boat on this one. Hopefully you'll be in the next one. Again, if you have a question, do an @ the C47 like Neil did the second time, and that would be awesome. Let's get back to our lights. So number 3 category, because we've done Luxli over here and we've done the Spiffy Gear Lumi lights, is we're going to take a look at these 2 lights right here. So I just purchased this light right before Christmas. I am late to the party on this one. This is the Boling P1. So it was on sale for 99 bucks. It was a steal. It's RGB white. I freaking love this thing. It goes all the way down to, well, they say, I guess you can get it to 1%. It's a little tricky with the dial, but it can go really, really low in terms of lighting. And what I really love about it is 2500 Kelvin. And then let's just go all the way up and we'll take a look. It goes up to 8500 Kelvin. And then we'll just increase the intensity here. And it has colors, but one of the things that I absolutely love about this, and let me just reduce the light here, is that it has this amazing little handle that lets you basically place it on a table, lets you have 1/4-20 taps. You can attach this to virtually anything. I use these little setups right here with Nano clamps and a spigot and also a ball mount to mount things all the time. And I have to say that this little light is a little workhorse, and you can dial in color and all of that fun stuff. But to me, it's this form factor with this little handle here. I love the pouch that it comes with. Normally about $160 US. I think it's worth it. Has a lot of output, but there's this little sucker that they've just put out, and it's not available on B&H. It's available on Andycine's, we'll say their Amazon store. And this one here, it doesn't go all the way down to 1% brightness. It goes to 10%, but it is a very versatile light, 7000 Kelvin. So you're still getting over that 6500. And the thing about this light, 2500 to 7000 Kelvin, is that it is 70 bucks. So you're getting a lot of brightness on this sucker for the money. And it's not a lot less bright than the P1. And I say that the 2 downsides to this, even though it has all the RGB stuff and everything else, is it doesn't have that really cool mount that is built into the P1, and it only goes down to 10% brightness. But still pretty fantastic for $70 US overall. All right, Tommy's got a question. I had 2 separate Boling P1s die after charging them to full power. Closest in build quality to them is the Pilot Fly, but they're more expensive, $160 each. Yeah, Tommy, so the first P1 that I got, I didn't have a power failure like you, but it wasn't charging all the way up, and I've had no problems with this one as of yet. So this one's been rock solid. The R1 just came in. Build quality is very, very good, and so I don't have any problem with that. So we'll see how that works. Yes, you need some sunglasses on, Alex. It's a lighting one. Alex, the other Alex, what's going on? And then I am very interested, since you bring it up, Tommy, about that Pilot Fly. The Atom Cube looks great. It doesn't look dissimilar to the Boling one, but I will say that their app looks really, really strong. And again, when we're talking about these lights, we have to look at the whole infrastructure or the whole ecosystem. And I would say that, you know, when we're talking about app control, Luxli really has their stuff together very, very well. We know that what Aputure is doing and how they're going is really strong in terms of things. And I'm sorry if I'm not switching to the right cameras as I do this. I'm just getting this whole A10 mini thing going. And there you go. So the film guy saying hi to all the beautiful people. So don't forget, we have Camera and Flask later on with our $2,500 lens kit challenge. 5 of our regulars, some of them here in the live stream right now, are going to be included. And then let's get some more subscribers on this channel. So if you do social media, let's promote it. Why am I saying that? Because we need to grow this channel. All right, so how does the P1 get power? So the P1 gets power, built-in battery. So of all the things that we've looked at right now, and I'll actually point to them, most of them, so we've got basically Sony NPF over here for the Luxli lights, built-in batteries for the Spiffy Gear Lumis, though you can power those off of a power bank if you want. So those will work with that. Same thing for this, built-in battery, lasts for a long time. Same for this, and same for this, same for this, this. There's a lot of lights now with built-in batteries, but because power banks are so inexpensive and more powerful and all that good stuff, it's a good thing. Okay, so there we go. The OCD is getting out of control here, but that's okay. We're making progress. Look at that. Beautiful. So where do we go next? Well, I think we go, what is this? Yes, Pilot Fly's app is a lot like Aputure's. You can pair, group lights, and everything. Yes, I see. It looks good. Beautiful. Okay, let's get on to some more lights. We're going to go to our big category over here. Here it is. The company that's just killing it right now in terms of lighting. And I have not, Alex, tried that Cam or Cam TV that's similar to the Luxli, but I'm digging the Luxli lights. We're going to talk about Aputure, that company. This is the case right now for the MC, which is the latest light that I've bought. So let's start over here with kind of the light that sort of introduced the affordable LED for video production category, which is the M9. Not a lot going on here. Built-in battery, daylight balanced, a kind of diffuser thing here. One of the things that I'm loving right now, which I'll mention, is this silicone rubber that Aputure is including with their lights now. So I'm not gonna put the M9 in here permanently because it doesn't actually fit, but I've actually ordered yesterday, because I'm doing this and I'm doing more research. I've actually ordered silicone 1 millimeter thick silicone, or 1.5, I'll have to check again, silicone, however you want to say it, rubber mats that I can cut out, and I'm going to probably get Velcro, and I'm going to attach those to some of these lights, which I want to diffuse more, because I don't like seeing those LEDs, and generally they're bright enough to do stuff. So the M9 is, this sucker right here is $45. Ridiculous. And why wouldn't you have that in your kit? Okay, number 2 on this list is this one right here. This is a really interesting light. It's about $210 US. It's the Aputure MW. This thing is built like a freaking tank. Pretty much all metal construction, and it comes with, if you want to use it, the silicone cover. It also has all of these, which I super appreciate, which is what this other little thing is for, because this is a daylight balanced light. It has all of these little gels. So you can gel this many different ways. Awesome. Now here's the thing with this. This thing is super, super bright. So put your sunglasses on and let's just take a look at it. Again, daylight balanced. It has a booster effect, which basically boosts it by 30% for 60 seconds if you need that sort of thing. It has some effects that you can hold and get into. So you can go in and there's TV and there's other things inside of here for different effects. And it's most importantly, I think, which makes it unique in this category, is this is a waterproof light. You can go down to 10 meters with this light. So this is an outdoor light. This is a light that you could use in a swimming pool. The MW is a little bit more expensive, but it has a lot of output. I think it's a well thought out light. There's actually some new lights that I've been looking at from, I think it's Litra. And they have this studio light, which is really interesting because it's very similar to this, but it's RGB, from what I can tell, WW, and it has even more output. It is also 10 meters in water. It's expensive, but I don't think it's probably expensive for what it is because it's a very unique light. So I'm going to be taking a look at that soon. Alex, I think that the MW is worth the money if you need it for the application that we're talking about. You're outside, documentary work, all weather. So basically you have to think about it that this is your weather sealed light. And if you're doing music videos and stuff like that, for sure, you want a light like this in your kit because you're going to be jumping into swimming pools. You're going to be placing it in locations where you're going to have adverse weather conditions. If you're up on ski slopes and things like that, then I think that it's very important to have lights like that. The other category, which has nothing to do with this because you got to put it on a baby pin generally, of lights that are exceptional that way, are light and motion stellar lights. The stellar lights are just bonkers in terms of that. So there you go. So MW, highly recommended. And now we move on to, oh, Crapintosh. Figures. Okay, I made a mistake. I was supposed to go from the M9 to the F7, and I got excited and I went to the MW. But I should be excited about this because this light, and here I am tapping as if I'm on the right camera. I was supposed to go from the M9 to the F7 to the MW, but now I'm going to go to this F7. Okay, so here we go. This is it, the F7. Probably one of the best valued lights that are out there. About $90 US. Of all of the Aputure lights that we're talking about right now, this one, from a build quality standpoint, I would say has the poorest build quality. But what you do get with this light is you get tremendous output. You get 3,200 Kelvin all the way up to 9,500 Kelvin. So really great output, and goes all the way down to 1%. So you get a nice little glow right here. And it runs off of Sony NPF batteries. There's not much more to say about this thing except for it kind of rocks. I mean, its downside is build quality, but for $90 US, it's silly not to have this light in your kit. Charged with USB-C. You can D-tap or P-tap it. There's a port right on there, right there. Holy crap. Maybe you should have the battery attached, Jem. I don't know what your problem is. Stuff happens on live streams. There you go. That's the F7. And by the way, it dropped and it didn't break. So there's always that. David has two. F7. Got to have it. They feel kind of cheapo. Compared to these other Aputure lights, for sure. Absolutely. But for $90 US, come on. That's craziness. All right. This one's about 150 bucks. I'm going to put silicone rubber on this one. This here is the Aputure MX. So this is a little bit different. It's not waterproof like the MW. It is a bicolor unit, and you can basically dim it. You know, it doesn't dim to virtually zero, but it, you know, it gets relatively low, but really the reason you have this light is for brightness. And it has the booster feature. That's exciting. You can change the CCT, so you can go warm or cool. It's not giving you a readout on color temperature, but this thing is a little beast. I mean, it's built like a tank. It's inexpensive for sort of the output that it has, $149 US. And, you know, it wouldn't hurt. I'm not saying you have to have all of these lights, but it wouldn't hurt. That MX is pretty dang amazing. Joe, thank you. I'm trying to up the game here a little bit, you know. Andrew would like Aputure to upgrade the F7 with a better frame. You know, Andrew, my personal feeling on this is we're probably not going to see an upgrade to the F7. While I'd love to see it as well, I think that where we're going in terms of Aputure and the lights that they have, we're definitely moving in the direction of this next light that we're going to be talking about. Thanks for the segue, which is this right here, which is the MC, which is the latest light. Here, I'm really effing up the OCD here. There it is, the MC. Okay. David got the MX for 85 bucks used. Dang, nice job. I got to check out the Falconized F7. Man, what is this? So Tommy, is this Falconized F7, even though it has the same name as the Aputure light, is it a small light that you're going to put onto a 1/4-20 or 3/8-16 threaded mount, or is it kind of baby pin style? I want to know. You got to tell me. Okay, let's talk about this right here. So this is the MC. It's got magnets on the back, wireless charging, $90 US. So if you got one of those little wireless charging pucks that you use for your phone or your Bluetooth headphones, you can use that for this as well. I have. But you can also charge it by USB, and you can power it by USB. And it's just a ridiculously small light. And Tommy, it's a pocket-sized light. Okay, good. I want to check it out. Can you send a link? Put a link, brother. Put a link in there. Let's see what happens. Man, I'm a fan of the silicone stuff. So this thing dims to, look, oh, wrong camera. This thing dims right here to 1%, okay? And it gets pretty bright. It's not going to get as bright as the other lights, most of the other lights that we've been talking about. And what do I mean by that? I mean the P1, I mean the Luxli lights, and things like the MW and the MX. But look at this thing. And then you switch over, and in correlated color temperature, you get 3200 Kelvin. And hopefully you guys are seeing this. And we're going all the way up. And here we go to 65. So we've got the right range for most applications. And there we go. And then what we do is we hold down this little side button here, and we can switch to HSI. And we go in there, and we can dial that in, and all the fun stuff with the colors. And then we hold it down here, and we go to effects, and there's some cool effects. There's your fire effect. You got to have your fire effect, blah, blah, blah. And then you can, of course, adjust your intensity for those effects as well, which is very, very important. So key to the castle here when it comes to that and any future Aputure products is the ZEISS or ZEISS link application. And you've got to have all this stuff on, you know, if you're buying these lights, one of the reasons you're doing it is for that. It's just amazing what you can do. I don't know if I'm going to do this live because I'm being a numbnut here, but let's just see if it'll find the light, and we'll see if it says, hey, here you are. Let's see. Come on. There we go. And I'm already controlling this sucker, so you can see that. And that's all the app. And then it gets really deep in terms of what you can do with the application, and it's seeing that I'm in fire, but if I want to go into gel mode, then I can go into that, and I'm switching stuff, and it's all here. And you can do just an enormous number of lights with this in terms of how many you can control with this mesh network that they've set up. And I'm super excited about that. I would say that app-wise, that Luxli's done a really great job with their products as well. And looking forward, that's really one of the things that we want from these manufacturers. So let me see. You can get the F7, you can get a grid for it. I got to check that thing out. Tommy sent me an email. Beautiful. Luma cubes are really, yep, kind of like the Litra things. Alex has a review on his channel. Come on, Alex. Put a link right here in the stream to your episode. That's the way it's got to work. We got to share here. The MC is always sold out. Absolutely, it's always sold out at $90. I'm not surprised. I got one in to test from B&H, and I liked it so much that I wound up buying it. And I paid full price. I like it. I think it's great. There you go. Okay. The MCs don't seem like they get that hot, if that's 3+ what you're asking about. They're also not as bright. They don't have as much output. So there we go. Let's see. Okay, now we're going to talk about a couple other things. These are important. I found out about this light originally from Caleb Pike. This one I just recently got. And you'll also see that there's a link in the description under the fold. I have all of these lights linked. And there's a couple of puck lights, these little round lights that I'm getting. I've already had one round come in, and I didn't like them because they were too sensitive. They just kept turning on almost by themselves. And what I liked about them is they were really small, and they were rechargeable, and they did not flicker. And that's really the key here. If you're going to make an investment into these El Cheapo closet lights and things like that, you've got to get some in. You've got to test them. And, you know, these are like 10. No, well, there was a flash sale on Amazon yesterday for this light that was $10.70. But usually they're about $15 to $20. And the reason I got it is because I got one in silver. You can get them in white. You can get them in different colors so that when you're placing them in the background and you're creating depth, then, you know, they don't stand out. So let's take a look at this. This sucker right here has different color temperatures and intensities and is flicker free, which is amazing, and is $11. And I don't even know what to do. Yes, I checked out the Relio. It looks amazing, Trevor, by the way. Here we go. I'm going to show your link there, Alex. I don't know why it made me approve it. The Relio 2s look great. I've started a little bit of a correspondence with that guy over in Italy about that. I've tried a couple of LED fixtures from IKEA. I haven't tried any recently, but, you know, there you go. And then if you leave one of these in the car, then, you know, you're in good shape too. So there you go. So that's that one, which is about $15 to $20 in different colors. And thanks to Caleb for introducing me to that. Now we're going to take a look at this one. This one was $18. It is not dimmable, but it has a magnet system on it. And you could, again, use, you know, you could use command strips and stuff like that. And I like this one. It's got a little handy, if you can see this, it's got a little thing here that flips up that you can basically hang this on something. So you can put it on a little hook. I'm probably going to have to get a silver Sharpie or something to just take that out if it's going to show up. It does have a motion sensor, which could be interesting for some gags, but I'm just going to go ahead and turn this on, and you can see the different modes. There's a blinking mode, there's an on mode, and then if you do long presses, it has 3 different color temperatures. Now, slightly green, slightly magenta on a couple of them, but for $18 and in the background, you're not lighting talent. You're not, you know, spilling that light onto skin tones. Kind of ridiculous. And I would say for sure this is a good buy. And again, if I can, by next week, what I'd like to do is, even if it's a short episode, take a couple of these lights, throw them in backgrounds with a little bit of setup, and show you sort of how they read out of focus in the background when you're shooting it, let's say at 2.8, you know, on a normal to a telephoto lens. So what do we got here? $32. What is this? What's this one? The Yongno LED. Why don't you put a link, 3+? Let's do it. Let's go. Let's get some links on here. We've it's okay to share. Sharing is okay. Hello? There we go. It won't let me post a working link. Okay, so Alex has a link for his F7 review. Alex, I'm just gonna, will it? No, it's not gonna let me do it. You know, you can share that stuff. Just go to the C47/contact. I have realized unless I set up a third-party system, I can't actually allow you to put attachments on there, which kind of sucks. But you can give me links and things like that, and I can share them in different episodes. A couple other things I want to point out here, by the way, is when you're using small lights like this, some of the things that I always travel with are these, which are basically nano clamps, and you have a spigot here, which is basically 1/4-20 on one side, 3/8-16 on the other, and then you get good quality ball mounts. I find that the Manfrotto ones are generally the best. They're a little more expensive, but they hold up very well. Portable tripod is not a bad thing to have, because you can set that up, again, also with a ball mount, and you can attach these lights to them, and microphones and all kinds of stuff. And that's something that breaks down really small. I don't think this teapot is still made, but you can see here that this breaks down to be something that's quite small and compact. And this definitely isn't made anymore from the great minds at Jag 35, but you can get a Joby or something like that, and you can just get these portable tripods, which have 1/4-20 on one side. You can use that, and generally they'll have some sort of ball mount, or you can attach one. And these are great also for when you're on the road and you want to basically attach lights to things. The three things that I use probably the most for these types of lights. And 3+, I don't see your link there. I don't see anything allowing me to do that. I wish those Alpha home lights were as cheap in Canada. They're $50 here. What? Clay, that's out of control. I don't even know what that's all about. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, cool. So what else we got? Let's see. I like the Manfrotto 709 mini tripod. Yep, that's pretty cool too. There's a lot of things out there on the market that you can use for mounting these things and attaching them to stuff. And then again, don't forget, you know, magnets, Velcro, especially when you have something like the MC here, which has a magnet built in. I'm hearing stuff. I think it's snowing or raining or something outside. It's good. Lots of stuff going on here in the barn, by the way. Not only this sort of new setup here with this, you know, 1, 2, 3 with the ATEM Mini, but also just organizationally doing tons of stuff over the last 3 weeks, getting closer to that point where this space is going to be cleared out enough so that it's getting ready for the next phase for this studio to get built out. So I'm super excited about that. Let's see what we got here. Now, 3+, no link showing up. I think you're going to have to do what Alex is doing, which is essentially kind of type something out. Do I have an affiliate link for your recommended mini ball heads? I do on my website and in some of my episodes. I can add that after this. So I will make a note to basically put some of this stuff up on to this episode so that there's some reference to it. I'll try to find some different mini tripods. I can list the one that Victor put on there. And then Alex now has a real question. Again, I'm seeing the question, but if you can do an @the_C47 in your question, it will tag it. David, thank you, sir. And pretty versatile in terms of you were just looking at basically nothing, and that's probably what you're. Again, getting used to the A10 Mini. Okay, what am I supposed to do here? Okay, so the background does work pretty well, and in fact, I'll walk over here, and you can make it punch a little bit. Or by just turning off one little light with some barn doors, then it goes a little flatter. And there you go. So I apologize for being on that camera for so long. Here, I'll go turn that on. Those FIILEX P360s, awesome. Okay, so let's go back to Alex's question. If you had a budget for one light up to $300 and you wanted to put it on camera, C100 to light faces, which one would you choose most flattering? Whew. And $300 is the limit in terms of what you can do. Is that correct? All right, Alex. It's a good question. So it's a hard call because I think that, first of all, I almost never put a light on a camera. So I'll call it an on-camera light. But if I have my way, at the very least, I'll get something that I can attach to the camera, like an L bracket or something, and I'll get that light a little bit off axis, a little bit off from where the center of the camera is, so I can have a little bit of shape. I'm really just looking for bicolor in those situations. So from sheer output for your money, I would probably say that I would recommend, I mean, look, you can buy 3 Aputure F7s for less than $300 US. So that's pretty fantastic. If you want something that's just got exceptional build quality, then I would say the Boling P1. You could buy 2 of those essentially for the same price. Incredibly bright and very versatile. There's a lot to be said about these lights here for quote unquote on camera. It's a little bit more expensive. I would say that probably the most versatile is going to be the Cello. None of these lights are going to be completely flattering unless you diffuse them, though. And the thing that you really have to remember, which I know most of you know, is, Alex, which one is heavy? The F7 because of the battery. You can get slimmer NPF batteries if that's what you're referring to. The Boling is not that heavy and it has a built-in battery. You know, Shiznut's is funny. The thing that I think about is when I'm talking about an on-camera light, a fixture that has not only a lot of output and that I can modify, but I want to make sure that that light ideally has an external battery solution. Because when you're running and gunning, you don't necessarily want to be thinking about having a power bank with you and using that, because that's an extra piece of GAC with another wire that is not an ideal situation for a rig. Of course, if you've got a nice little tight rig, then you can basically, you know, Velcro something somewhere and have your power bank. But Alex, I think that, you know, without a battery, this F7 is very, very light. And you can put very slimline Sony NPF style batteries on here, which of course are not going to give you as much run time, but you can just bring a whole bunch of those in there and it will keep the weight down. Quarter 20 taps on the bottom and on the top and on the side. So you've got one on the side here on the right side of the fixture. So, you know, versatility wise, because of that range, 3200 to 9500 Kelvin, you have a huge range there. So I would start with the F7 for price point, color temperature range, intensity output. The build quality, not great, but it's still a fantastic fixture. And you've got to get that camera off axis. I mean, even if it's just a tiny little light stand and you stick one of these ball mounts on the light stand, I'm using them right now. You've got to get those little compact light stands. And what you do is you stick a little ball mount on there and you just place it with, you know, like a BOA bag from Matthews, which is a tiny little sandbag that you can get. And I would just say you've got to get it off axis a little. And sometimes I've even wrapped like a little piece, like, you know, those little mats that people use, that they're kind of like really thin cutting boards. They're semi-translucent. You can wrap one of those onto a light and you can create a bigger source. That would be great for something like this. You can just get a piece of diffusion and get some 216 or something like that, and you can wrap it around the light, and you're just trying to make it a little bit bigger. There's also some little portable soft boxes that you can use as well. But I would really, you know, say that that would make sense. If you can spend just a little bit more money, quite honestly, I think that you would be better off looking at something like the Cello Light. Also not that heavy. Build quality, I would say, is slightly better than the F7. It's still not the tank that you're getting with the MW, the MX, the Boling lights and the ones from Andycine. But I would say that, you know, just sheer output from this light for the size of what it is pretty exceptional overall. It's very, very versatile as a fixture and goes all the way down to 3000 Kelvin and all the way up to 10,000. And that doesn't even include all of the gels and all of the features that are in there. But you are going to spend a little bit more than $300 US, but I think that you're going to find that that's a light that you can use in lots and lots and lots of situations. I use it as a background light. I use it as a kicker light. They have some diffusing panels that you can use for these. Quite honestly, I just use a piece of silicone over it or some sort of diffusion because their little box there is a little clunky and it just adds costs. And I think that there's better ways to modify what you're doing. So good. All right. So we're getting close to the end here of this episode. And besides that little hiccup I had where I was basically sitting on this frame right here for way too long, and David had to wake me up there in David's true way of doing such things, we've covered a lot of ground. What's the deal here? Are we gonna have any more questions here? What do you think? I agree with Andrew's comments here on the F7. I did have one issue once, and it was probably because I didn't pack it the right way, where I had a little knob here get damaged. And I just contacted Aputure, and they sent another knob to me, and I just popped it on, and all was good with the world. Yep. And then Andrew says that you can fit an NP 750, F750, and the included ball mount inside the F7 case. The good thing is that I don't, where is it? It's somewhere around here on one of my carts. The case here for this F7 is really a great case. So it's very protective in terms of the fixture itself. So we got here now. Ooh, people are blowing up here. Love the cello, so useful. Yeah, I can't wait till they come out with the cello V2, which will be great. Victor's now asking what my favorite big light is. So many, so many. Don't hate Sky Panels. Pretty great. really liking the Mixpanel 150 by Nanlite, which is over there, and the versatility of that light. So that's a pretty great light overall. Like the Aputure 120D2, the 300D2, very partial to the Flex 1x2 panel from WESTCOTT, and too many. Nanlite Forza 500, which is just a beast. We'll get into that in some episodes later on. Yeah, so there you go. That's some of the bigger lights, and there's other stuff that I like as well. It's just, you know, it's really about modifying it and stuff like that. So there you go. What do we got? Future episode ideas. Another episode on rigging and modifiers, battery solutions. Yeah, you know, that thing that Sutton created, Michael Sutton over at Kessler, who I've known for quite some time. He's taken and created this battery adapter, which uses off-the-shelf DeWalt batteries. So you can go to Lowe's, Home Depot. I mean, I'm talking in the US, but it's a pretty common battery solution out there. And you can stick these on this powering solution, and you can power lots of different devices, not the least of which are Kessler's, you know, sliders and, you know, second shooters and all that kind of stuff. I don't know the Godox SL60. Nanlite stuff is great, Leo. I think that where they're kind of lacking at the moment, though I'm sure they'll figure this out in the future, is applications. Oh, and other lights that I mean, I really like Area 48 from BB&S is a great fixture as well. Now they have a full RGBW solution out there. So really some great stuff out there in terms of larger fixtures and what they can do. And Gemini 1x2 is no slouch either. 1x1 is okay. But I think that, you know, I think that there are probably better options in there. Brightest on-camera light panel, Robin is asking. Heck, I don't know. I get scientific sometimes, but let's get it off the camera. I would say of the fixtures that I have right here, the brightest lights are going to be the Cello, this right here, which is the Boling P1, and probably the this little MW from Aputure, which is just ridiculously bright for its size. It's one of the more expensive fixtures here in terms of the stuff. So there you go. What do we got? So Connie, this is Alex. You know, a similar light for similar price that comes with a case. Okay, good. Oh, I see. Look up Dasny D50. What I love about the chat is I'll go back and I'll look at this stuff and do some research. That's what I did with the Relio 2 from the last episode or 2 episodes ago. I'm older. I forget stuff sometimes. Check out that lens flare. Look, overall it worked. We have the A10 Mini in the house and super happy about how that all works. It's super cool. And I think that's an episode done. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're not new to the channel and you are subscribed, thank you very much. And please, if you do social media, promote this channel. Get some people over here. The goal is for this thing to grow this year. Working very hard on our end to build out a bigger space, to do more things that are teaching you more in terms of tech and craft of video production and filmmaking, always with the goal of small to no crew. Victor, I haven't included the Mini 20D because I kind of consider it a light that you put on a baby pin, but it is a really interesting light. I'll probably be using that in my class workshop at NAB. Leo is agreeing with the Cello. This is all good stuff. Hey, Alex, it's an evolution. It's not a revolution here at the C47. But I think for sure that it's going to get even better. I am going to work a lot on this space for the rest of the day until I have to set up and find a bottle of something for this week's episode of Camera and Flask. It will be at 3 p.m. Pacific time. It will be with myself, Caleb Pike, and Ben Barden on this channel. And it's a $2,500 lens challenge. We have our lists. We have 5 other people who have their lists of lenses. We're going to be talking about it, discussing it, making fun of ourselves, but not the people who gave us their lists. And how am I supposed to help you find a sponsor for NAB, Victor, if I don't have a sponsor? I mean, I'm going to teach, so that's what I'm going to do. Gem for Prez. Yeah, God forbid. I think that's it. So do all the things that you're supposed to do. Have a good day. Come back. The link for the episode today is at the top, but you don't really need it. You just come back to this channel, 3 p.m. Pacific. Who are you going to sponsor for IBC, me or Victor? Sponsor is both. We'll do content together. All right, guys and gals, that's it. I'm going to the logo. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching. Let me go ahead and send the logo to live, and I'll see most of you hopefully later on Camera and Flask.